What is up guys, Munash here, and we got another Alliance War video, and this one was pretty interesting for me because I finally got to use Magik in Alliance War, who I only pulled last month, and then I decided to rank 5 her. And then after finding out I can bring her to this war, I decided to awaken her with my Mystic Gem and took her up to Sig 80. So as usual I'm going to go in with Quake, as well as Nick Fury, and then Magik. And this one's going to be a lot longer than the previous video because I did manage to do, I believe, 10 fights in this war. Okay, so let me hop on to part 6. So first up we have this Juggernaut with Strike Back and Aggression Fury. And he is a defensive champ, so you can trigger that Indestructible from Stubborn. And I typically would Quake this fight, but with Aggression Fury and Stubborn it's a little bit more tricky because I'm likely to parry once or twice to get through this fight, so I'm actually going to use Magik for this one. And then just power lock him. So I'll start off by waiting out the Unstoppable. And he does seem to have high Mystic Dispersion. But fortunately I also have high Mystic Dispersion, so his buffs are also giving me a decent amount of power. Okay, now he's got 5 Furies, so I actually go in with the Intercept just to remove them without taking too much parry damage. Put another special 2, get the power lock, and now he's below 1 bar of power. So now I can sort of use that classic Magik backdraft playstyle. And this is why I love having the Nick Fury evade synergy with Magik, because just in case I mess up on the backdraft. And I also managed to mitigate a lot of the block damage thanks to Limbo. Which is kind of why I dumped a couple of stones into her. Okay, and Juggernaut goes down. Okay, next up we have Silver Surfer with Power Focus 1 and Power Alternator. So like last time, I'm going to use Nick Fury for this one. You know, it's a pretty straightforward fight with them. Except this time I'm not going to get hit. Okay, and he goes down, and I managed to finish with full health thanks to the armor break he applies. Just allows me to heal with willpower. And now we have Kingpin with Heavy Hitter, Steady Build Up Fury, and Power Alternator. So I'm going to use Quake for this one since, you know, it's pretty much a standard Quake fight. She can ignore all those nodes. He's not defensive, so I don't have to worry about Stubborn. But first I'm going to apply my boost because I did have a few more fights on this path. But besides, just go with the 10% champion boost, which I suppose kind of makes up for having class disadvantage. But yeah, either way, it's a very straightforward Quake fight. The only tricky thing about quaking Kingpin is that he can shrug off your stuns from the aftershock. Although you can prevent that if you're holding heavy at the time the aftershock would hit. Because then you have 2 concussions, so you can't shrug anything off. So he's not the easiest to Quake just because he can sort of shrug off your debuffs, so you have to just watch out for that. You know, because he can combo you very quickly right after shrugging off the stun. But besides that, it's nothing too tricky. Just gotta focus. And there are moments when I drop my heavy when I feel like he would shrug off the stun. But it's not really an issue. Alright, and he goes down. Okay, now we have Sorcerer Supreme with Power Snack, Outlast, Backup Recovery, and Power Focus 1. So I'm going to use Magik again for this one. I mean, because she gains power passively, it just means that, you know, Quake will eventually have to bait her special attacks. And also she's defensive as well, which just complicates things even more because you're going to be dexing to avoid those special attacks. I've never actually done this fight before. And it's a somewhat stacked sorcerer, so I'm just going to use a power start boost. Along with the mystic power boost, just so I can shut her down pretty quickly. And then sort of just do the Magik cheese. I don't know, would you consider this playstyle cheese? It does sort of seem kind of cheesy, just, you know, going back and forth, doing a combo, doing a special 2, repeating the cycle. But yeah, I must say it's very effective. So yeah, I know a lot of people say that Magik's damage output isn't really that good. But this playstyle allows you to be very aggressive, and yeah, the hit count does seem quite high, but you actually have a pretty decent damage per second. You are doing a lot of hits, but you're doing them very quickly. And last thing about Magik is she actually has pretty good damage per second when you think about it because of this playstyle. Okay, and she goes down. Now moving on to section 2, we've got Taskmaster with Rage and Enhanced Fury. So I'm going to use Quake for this one because eventually he will go debuff immune. I mean, I usually would use Nick Fury against skill champs that I see here, but because it's Taskmaster, you will go debuff immune after you land 10 debuffs, so eventually the bleeds are going to stop working, so I'm just going to use Quake for this one. So yeah, it's a pretty standard Quake fight. The only thing is he does become debuff immune very quickly, so it's mostly just a stun immune Quake fight. And also the Rage node will sort of limit your damage output, since you can't bypass it with ability accuracy. Which also means there's no point using attack boost for this one. But yeah, fortunately Taskmaster's animations are not the most difficult to Quake. I actually do quite like Taskmaster's animations for quaking. You know, they're very easy to identify, not too quick, and they're quite smooth. Usually champs with smoother animations are easier to Quake. Okay, and now we have Storm Pyramid X with Aggression, Prowess, and Power Focus 2. So this is another Quake fight. I mean, I could use Nick Fury for this one, and just beta special 1. But honestly, it's just easier and safer to use Quake. Because also you can't get glanced if you don't make contact. So yeah, this is a pretty straightforward Quake fight. Alright, and now we're getting to the main reason why I brought Magik to war today, and that's for this Void. So now we have a rank 3 Void with Ebb and Flow Intercept, Crumbling Armor, and Double Determination. And Magik, surprisingly, well, I don't know if it's a surprise, but she actually works pretty well for this fight. Because you can play very aggressively, so it's not too difficult to manage your hit count to remove those debuffs from you. And with the playstyle and the backdraft intercepting, you're going to gain a nice attack increase from the Ebb and Flow Intercept node. And that pretty much just cancels your class disadvantage. But I still do want to boost up for this one, because it is a bit of a beefy fight. So yeah, the game plan is just to get that special 2, and then keep him in the corner while he's power locked. So they are sort of just playing it a little bit slow to make sure that I can remove the debuffs in time. And here I actually went in a little bit too early. I got a bit excited. I just wanted to get on with the fight. so I didn't line up my combo quite perfectly to remove the debuffs. So I threw my special 2 there. But still, it's all good, and also just having that limbo really helps you mitigate some of the damage you take. And landing a successful intercept will remove that protection and give me a Fury passive. So I'm actually doing pretty good damage. Just gotta keep up the tempo of the fight, keep him locked in the corner, and then it's pretty simple. There were a few moments where he just wasn't like cooperating the way I would have liked him to. But it's all good, still have a decent amount of health. And he's going down pretty steadily. So yeah, Magik is still pretty damn good for Stubborn Wars. She still has the best power lock in the game, like by a mile. And arguably still the best power control champ in the game. I mean, you can argue Doom is better, but what I like about Magik is that she's just so robust, you know, there's just no flow of power whatsoever. Whereas with Doom, it's like you're just controlling their power in a way that they just don't throw their special attacks, even though they do have power. Then I finish him off with special 1. So yeah, I really just like Magik for that robust, no-nonsense type of power control. Okay, now moving on to the final section, we have Emma Frost with Rage, Extend, and Return Policy. Okay, so fortunately she doesn't have any buffs to nullify, so that won't be a problem. And I'm going to go in with Nick Fury for this one. I actually had to do a duel before this fight because I am still boosted. So I want to just make sure that I'm not going to hit too hard, otherwise I'm going to trigger that Rage. And she is a defensive champ, so if she goes unblockable, I won't be able to parry to remove the indestructible. And yeah, I actually forgot that her controls are inverted, I don't know why. But yeah, I just wasn't thinking, I just dexed it the normal way. Okay, now I got my special 2. Which was actually a mistake, I'm actually supposed to be spamming special 1s because the special 2, if it crits, especially that last hit, it can actually trigger that Rage. So yeah, with Fury it's generally just safer to use special 1. So yeah, this is a bit of a longer fight because she's stubborn, class disadvantage, and of course Rage. But yeah, Fury still does pretty well for it. The only thing is you cannot use your decoy for this fight. Otherwise you're going to be hitting way too hard. And I am still dissing the special attacks just to avoid the block damage. Even though I do have the perfect block chance, and it does trigger indestructible, it's just habit, to be honest. I just still think that it's just safer to do it this way. I mean, I could be blocking the special attacks or parrying them, because I do have a high perfect block chance, but I just feel more comfortable still dexing them like I usually would. Also, I just like to finish with more health. The only thing about Emma is when you have a higher power threshold, like if you have 1 bar more than she does, she will go into diamond form and then she becomes basically debuff immune for the most part against Nick Fury. So yeah, you just gotta dump your special attacks and then she'll go back to the path. Okay, and now we have Human Torch with Hurt Locker, Power Focus 1, Enhanced Special 1, and Power Drain, both his special attacks. So once again, I'm going to use Nick Fury for this fight, and this was actually one of my most fun fights. Watch how Nick Fury just absolutely bullies this rank 3 Human Torch. I don't think he threw a single special in this fight because of the Power Focus 1 node. So I tend to block quite a lot to prevent him from throwing special attacks. And I also just utilize reparry. And that's one thing I like about the Power Focus nodes, because if you play it right, and you can prevent them from throwing special attacks completely, and they will never get to 3 bars of power. But yeah, as you can see, he's just melting away. So yeah, Nick Fury just absolutely bullied this Human Torch. Goes down in 40 hits and about 40 seconds. So yeah, that was a very quick but satisfying fight. Okay, and last but not least, we have Mordo with Aspect of Evolution, Enhanced Special 2, Bias, and Improved Power Gain. I mean, the most annoying node here is Improved Power Gain, which actually works well with Aspect of Evolution. So I'm going to use Magik with this one as well. And aside, I'm going to throw in a 200% Mystic Boost, along with Enhanced Power. So I'm gonna play this fight pretty safe at the beginning by just, holding block till I get an opening. Since it is the last fight, I'm not too worried about block damage. Yeah, then once that power lock is on, the fight pretty much becomes under control. Now we're back to the Magik cheese. Power lock, keep him in the corner, play aggressively, and pretty much just shut him down. But yeah, as you can see, she still does pretty well in Alliance War just for that power control. A fairly simple champ in the sense that her game plan is very straightforward, but yeah, still highly effective. Okay, so there, I don't know if I mistimed my backdrop or if his recovery was just inconsistent or something, but yeah, I lost my remaining 2 FA charges there, so I gotta be a little bit more careful now. But yeah, it's going down pretty quickly, so the fight shouldn't last long. Okay, and he goes down. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon.